YouTube, I am back, and let's do some more replay action here and show you some more about patch 9. So let's see, should be on this one now. So this is Parthia versus Macedon. So cav heavy factions have their work cut out for them now against pike factions, but Parthia is still a viable faction for a couple of reasons. One, they have elephants. Two, they have some infantry, both swords and pikes, and they have foot skirmishers. To be honest, if you're trying to play a nomadic faction against any pike faction, and you're playing against any player that understands this game, you're going to lose because they'll just pike box, and they'll put slingers inside the pike box that will own your horse archers. So it's a real issue to try and use nomadic factions against pike factions. It's something to be aware of. It's not going to go real well for you, I don't think. Parthia, on the other hand, is a different story. So my army's 4 Eastern Spearmen. I probably didn't even need to bring these guys, but I brought them just to be able to slow up any enemy infantry. I don't expect them to get me any kills, but I have a huge number of foot slingers here. Just in case my opponent was going to pike box me, I needed enough skirmishers to have him waste enough ammo. But the thing is I don't need to just... So here's the advantage of the pike box versus the cav faction. If you can even just get your opponent to waste their ammo killing your skirmishers, they won't have enough left to kill your pikemen, which means they lose because they have to charge the front of pikemen. So I had to bring enough skirmishers to not only beat his, but cause damage to a certain number of pike units. And then also, in reserve, I'm going to keep these 2 units of Parthian horse archers, and I don't want them to get involved in the fight until all of his foot skirmishers are dead. This way I can get extremely close to his men and unload with heavy shot at point-blank range. So these are my contingency plan. If I can at least win the skirmishing fight, I can use these guys to bust a hole in his pike box, and then I'll be able to use my Eastern Cataphracts, which I've got several of them. This is the only Cataphract unit now that's less than 1,000 talents, I think, or it's right around 1,000 talents. It's not as good as a Royal Cataphract, that's for sure, but it's quite good. And my general is a Royal Cataphract. I brought 1 Mercenary Sarmatian Lancer, which is a light horse, just to help protect my skirmishers. I'm going to split up a little at this point, so all of my striking powers with my Cataphracts and my killing powers, hopefully my slingers. My opponent does have a lot of pikes, but he doesn't really have enough to completely box because he still spent some money on Citizen Cav. In this case, if you're going to bring Citizen Cav against Parthia, you shouldn't bring any Cav, really, in my opinion. Not Citizen Cav, at least. Because the problem with these guys is they can't kill any of my cavalry. They're not going to get to my skirmishers because they can't kill my cavalry, so you might as well have just spent this money on pikes, in my opinion, because then at least that's more men that I have to kill with my skirmishers before my cav might actually be a threat to you. Now he does do a smart move here. He did bring Sarissa cav. Not a bad plan because they're fast. He can use them to try and get after my slingers, but you can see even in just some initial volleys, my slingers have badly beaten up his own. He hasn't brought Rhodian slingers because he spent more money on his pike line. He should have saved money on his pike line and spent more money on his skirmishers. So if you're going to go up against a faction, well, see, Parthia can be tricky, though, because Parthia can bring infantry. And Parthian swordsmen are not great, but they're not bad. And so Parthia does have, again, some flexibility. So they're a little bit trickier to plan for, but if you get up in a game where someone brings the nomad factions against you, don't spend money on expensive pike infantry. Bring just, stable pike infantry. Look at the Sarissa Cav here taking the brunt of all my Eastern slingers. Just bring stable pike infantry and make a box and keep your stuff protected. If you brought a couple of scorpions inside the box too, you could force your opponent to come at you from long range. So if there's forest, get in the forest. Part of the reason I brought Parthia for this battle too is because the quick battle just assigned us this wide open map. I hate these maps, it's extremely boring, but it's a great map for Parthia because they need the full advantage of all their skirmishing and there's nowhere to hide. Yep, so my slinger's making short work of his, and as soon as his slingers are dead, my next objective is going to be to kill his cavalry. If I can kill his skirmishers and his cav, this fight is over, because I've got these horse archers back here in reserve just waiting for their turn, basically. Not to mention, if he can't make me waste all of my slinger ammo, he's also going to have issues, and I haven't used near all of my slinger ammo yet, and his guys are just getting owned. These regular slingers that Macedon can field really aren't very good. They would be good against archers. They would be good against low armor units, But as far as slinger on slinger fight, the only people that they could probably take head on would be like Celtic slingers, because they're on about the same level. Eastern slingers are better. Britain slingers are better. Just trying to think of a few others. There's quite a few skirmishers that are better. Alright, so at this point... Sorry, I'm about to sneeze. I think I got it muted in time. At this point, my opponent's going to try and force an engagement, but, I mean, he really can't force an engagement because he's brought pikes. So the very first thing I'm going to do is target these foot companions and just rain a hail of slinger fire onto them, because any of them that I can kill is good. So I'm going to start off by targeting some of his most valuable pike units, which is the foot companions. And I would never, ever recommend to bring foot companions against any faction that you think is going to come skirmish heavy, because they're going to be vulnerable. If someone's goofy enough to rush you as Macedon and you've brought foot companions, you're going to be in good shape. But as far as if they have slingers or something, they're going to be the biggest target of opportunity, because this is a 1300 talent unit that's somewhat vulnerable to missiles and is slow and not real maneuverable. So, you know, this is a perfect target for me. You always want to target, whenever you don't need to take down enemy skirmishers, you always want to target the most valuable stuff. Now, there have been a little bit of an engagement here that I missed. I killed some of his cav here, got chased off by his hoplites, and then he's got some citizen cav that's about to get into my skirmishers here, so this is a bit of a dangerous situation. I'm trying to micro multiple spots, and I let my Eastern infantry get caught here, but those are pikes. And then over here, I'm going to countercharge his citizen cav. They're going to get caught now, and I'm just going to get my horse archers out of there. And I'll just keep running away my slinger, so he'll get a few kills here, but not exactly what he needs. And then I'm going to split up my cataphracts and get away from his hoplites. Just never going to leave my guys to sit there in engagement. And then, look, I'm targeting his cav. His hoplites are a little bit out of the way, and I'm going to bring in my royal cataphracts into the back of these citizen cav. And as soon as I get a chance, I'll just get out of this fight. But again, now I'm targeting his cav. If I can kill it, then it's definitely game over for my opponent. My Eastern infantry still, I don't even care if they get lost. Even if it just keeps his cav busy for a minute, that's perfectly fine. I've got my mercenary Sarmatian lancers taking on the citizen cav, and then I'm going to run my Eastern spearmen in there too. He's still got one citizen cav chasing me, but I'm just going to focus fire all my slingers on it, and I'll be able to kill it. I could have been using this thing the whole time, not sure why I didn't. Yeah, watch this citizen cav. I think he lost its attack order somehow. As soon as my slingers get a chance to start firing, though, they're going to take these guys down pretty quick. Oh yeah, and here comes a... Oh, sandwiched by Eastern cataphracts. What a way to go. So my opponent had a chance to get some advantage on me, but to be honest, it would be too little and too late. I've managed to kill pretty much all his cav. He has this one unit of citizen cav right here, and he's got another unit chasing me over here. It's very beat up, so... And my horse archers still haven't fired a shot. So at this point, my opponent is in big trouble. Most of my slingers are alive, most of his cav is dead. This is exactly the kind of position that you don't want to be in as a pike faction versus Parthia. But, you know, it's okay, it's all a learning experience. Just because my opponent messed up this time, this will probably be a way for him to know, okay, you know, if I go against Parthia again with Macedon, I can adjust. And, because Macedon definitely has a chance to beat Parthia in almost any given situation. Just you're going to need to bring an army that's maybe a little more flexible against the kind of stuff that Parthia could bring. So there goes another citizen cav. And then he's got this one last unit here that I kind of forget about for a little while, because now I'm getting ready for the final phase of the battle, which is to skirmish his pikes to death. And my opponent does the natural thing here and starts to form a what we all call a noob box. A pike box, I guess, is a better name for it. This is what he should do. It's the only thing he can do. He can't chase me. But again, here comes my Parthian horse archers. I'm going to go right up in front of his foot companions. Point blank range with heavy shot and open fire. So I could get on their flank and do it as well, and there's nothing he can do about it. He did have a few slingers left, though, so that's why you're seeing me pull back my horse archers, and I'll just take out his last remaining slingers quickly. Because even just a few slingers can hurt my horse archers pretty bad. All of his calves dead. Now it's just a matter of me surrounding and finishing him off. His slingers are dead. I can now target his pike infantry. I can now come back in with my horse archers. So writing's on the wall at this point. So what should you do if you're going to play against Parthia with a pike faction like Macedon? consider carefully the different options that the Parthian player might bring against you, and then also consider carefully each unit that you pick. Pikes are a good pick because they're good at taking out cav, and they can take out light Parthian infantry. How much money should you send on those pikes? You know that a unit of Parthian infantry can't take even probably a levy pikeman from the front, so you don't even have to spend much money on those pikes. So think about cost effectiveness here. Hoplite, if you're going to do a pike box, maybe you could put a hoplite inside your pike box to help reinforce any weaknesses that start to form in the square. So not a worthless unit. And in fact, you might even consider boxing with hoplites. It wouldn't be good against Parthian infantry if they brought swords necessarily, but it would be good against cavalry. They won't kill them as quickly as pikes, but the cav isn't going to bust through these hoplites if they're braced. So that's another option. You have lots of options. Check out my cav here on heavy shot, just shooting it right into these guys. So it's going to be a gruesome death for these poor thorax pikes. I could probably charge from certain directions now, but I'm just going to open up the box right here by finishing these guys off. Get some brutal shots on these guys. Oh, the guy got taken out. So now I'm just going to start targeting another thorax pikeman. My opponent's down to a small triangle here. His guys start to rout due to lack of numbers, and then I'm just going to click a charge order with everything. In any case, hope you all enjoyed this battle. Hopefully it's a lesson learned. Parthia is still a very dangerous faction if it's used right, but obviously pike factions could potentially counter all the cataphracts at this point. So hope you all enjoyed that. HeirofCarthage signing off for now.